Morning. Welcome to Frequently Asked Questions Friday. Today is January 29th already. And I don't know if you can hear it, if we're picking it up on the video or not, but the wind is roaring out there. It is crazy cold. Yeah, but it is January, right? So our question today comes from sellers, from the seller side. When we get a call from someone that would like to list their house, we go out, sit down. I'm going to trying to sum this up in a quick couple minutes here, but we will come out to the house and sit down with the seller, answer all their questions, create a strategy, a marketing plan, answer all of their questions, and one of the questions that they usually always have when we're discussing the process of what will happen when we get an offer, we talk about the appraisal. If the home doesn't appraise is usually their question, but not these days because the market is just crazy. Still, we talk about appraisals, home inspections, the process that the buyer will go through for a home inspection. And there's also something called a UNO, a use and occupancy inspection in some places. So those three things can sometimes be confusing. Let me just start by saying that the appraisal is something that is done by the mortgage company. Usually, you as the seller or as a buyer can hire your own appraiser to get a full appraisal done of the value of the home. Number two, the second kind of inspection is a home inspection. That's also brought on most of the time by the buyer and at the buyer's expense. Now, let me back up a second. The appraisal is actually part of what the buyer pays for as well within their closing costs. The appraisal will affect, obviously, your sale price, so it must appraise at the sale price. Again, if it doesn't, that's another discussion that you have along the path. The home inspection is something that also, once the inspection is done, there's a negotiations between the buyer and seller, agents usually, but it's up to the buyer and seller to come to a conclusion as to what will be repaired and what won't be repaired. And it's okay for the seller to say no, and it's okay for the buyer to ask. It's a give and take. The third kind of an inspection that people tend to confuse is a UNO, which is called a use and occupancy. Now, not every area requires this. Some towns don't. Some towns have very crazy detailed ones. It is done by the location that you live in. It is a certain details that are set up in requirements. Some have big, long lists. This one does usually, almost always, fall on the seller. These are requirements that have to be done before they will give an occupancy certificate to transfer the property to the buyer. So they can be a little bit confusing, but hopefully that clears it up a little bit for you. There's a whole lot more questions that come in between there. So if that was one of your questions and you still have questions left, feel free to reach out, text us. You can message, depending on where you're seeing this. You can hit the message button, hit our link in the bio. On Instagram, if that's where you are. Facebook, you can always hit the message button. And guess what? We still have a phone. You can text us if you are in a hurry and you just want to shoot a quick text and don't want to get into a big conversation. That's fine too. Or you can call me. I love to talk. So as you can tell. So there you have it. There is your frequently asked questions question for Friday, January 29th. So bundle up out there. It is a cold one. So have a great weekend. Stay safe. Wear those masks. And take care. We'll see you next Friday.